Well, West Tigers fans, welcome to a very special edition episode of the West Tigers Life podcast. We have two very special guests alongside me, as well as my co-host in the Statsman, Aaron Thompson, tonight. We'll start with the New South Wales women's coach for this year, John Strange. Welcome, John. Your first time on a podcast, you were saying before?
It's actually my second, sorry.
Second? Okay. What was the other one?
Perfect 10.
Perfect 10.
Steve
Okay.
Allen. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Coach.
Shout out.
Yeah.
And then, of course, West Tigers fans, you probably, if you're watching it, you already know it's, of course, one of the greatest signings in West Tigers history.
Oh, wow.
I stand by that. New South Wales Blues legend, Jillaroo legend, Kezie Apps. Thank you so much for coming on the West Tigers Live podcast.
Crowd goes wild. No, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Well, firstly, obviously, women's state of origin is around the corner. It's I'll get the same question for both of you. Maybe John first. The game itself, the women's state of origin, has just gone to another level year after year after year, to the point now that it's just like, I mean, it's must-see TV. And how have you seen over the years, obviously, from a coaching point of view, how the game has grown in that time?
Yeah, well, I've been obviously watching the women's origin since 2018. I had the first game at North Sydney Oval. I was just talking to Kezie, actually, just before we come on here, about each series and how it's evolved from obviously just one game a year into the two games in 2023. And then the first women's series last year, it was awesome. And looking at the attendance, so they're standalone games, and each game, I think it was around 25,000 at all three games. So yeah, that just goes to show what product these girls are now putting out there, that people want to get out and support them. So for me to be involved in the women's game, I have been since 2020 as a coach.
Yep.
And now lucky enough to coach the New South Wales side this year. It's a great time to be involved in the game.
And Kezie, of course, as a player, I don't like to use the word veteran, but you've played many games. Yeah, many games of obviously now NRLW, but State of Origin series as well. From a player's point of view, like you guys are legitimately celebrities, household names. Like, yeah, how have you seen from when you started to now how much the game has grown?
Oh, it's grown so much. I guess when I first started, I was only just talking to Strangey about it too. My first game for New South Wales, we called it Interstate Challenge back then, was in 2014, and we played at Leichhardt Oval, was our first Origin game, and we got flogged by Queensland. But just the the growth and the investment from the NRL, especially with the NRLW coming into it, it's just, our game has just gone so much stronger each and every year, just with the more support and the more time that we get to spend in that professional system. We're able to train and get coached by the best coaches, so the longer we are in that professional system, the better the product is. And you're definitely seeing that over the last couple of years. And State of Origin is the pinnacle, I believe. I know obviously playing for Australia and playing for your country should be the pinnacle, and it definitely is. But I feel like there's a lot more eyes on State of Origin, and I feel that rivalry between Queensland and New South Wales is just so strong. And growing up watching State of Origin and watching the men play it, it was like a little family night, and the passion that you have, hating Queensland, and for now females being able to have that and have that same passion. And we genuinely, in Origin time, we literally don't talk to any Queenslanders. Like, we're really good friends with them, but you just don't talk to them throughout that period. You just hate them.
So obviously you just had a trip with a lot of them to Las Vegas to play. Yeah. So what is the dynamic like with the Queensland? Because even we don't have any Queenslands in the Tigers, do we?
I think we have a couple now.
A couple that are
we do.
They're Queenslanders
who live up there.
Yeah. Well, they don't have to live up in Queensland to play for Queensland. We know that. So what is the dynamic like? You've just been to Vegas. Tell us about the Vegas trip as well. But what is the dynamic like with the Jillaroos that are Queenslanders?
Yeah, I feel like now since there's NRLW, there's a lot more crossover with different people playing in different teams. So you get to know them as people, where I guess back in my day, back when I first started, we didn't have NRLW. So it was just where you played locally, and then you only got to when you played against them in State of Origin, and then you only got to see them sort of once a year when you got into that Jillaroo space. So that dynamic was a little bit awkward at the start until you got to know them. But now being part of NRLW and you sort of cross paths with them a lot more, and you're playing with so many different people, you're generally really good friends with them. So when you get to, obviously, as I said, Origin time, you do hate them. But then when you get to play with them at that highest level, you know, it's footy. We're all there for the same reasons. We all respect one another. We love the game. And we actually are really good friends.
Yeah. Yeah. It's sport hate. It's not literal hate. It's sport hate.
Well,
there is a difference. John, in terms of, because obviously you coach at club level as well, what is the feeling, the difference of feeling with a Origin setup with the girls when they come into camp, like Kez said, like they're all amped up, ready to, does it feel a lot different in that rep setting?
Yeah, I think it has. Yeah, we're just coming at the end of our 6-week training block. So because the girls go straight into Origin, unlike the boys where they play NRL then play Origin, with both states have had a 6-week block, which has been really, really good. And we're coming in the end. Actually, tomorrow night we've got our second in-house trial, and we pick our squad of 20 going into camp next week. But the energy amongst all the girls, all 30 girls, has been it's been amazing. So but they are the best girls available. So coming into this for the first time, I've definitely noticed that difference. Like in NRLW, we've all got squads of 24. And you get that intensity through probably 3/4 of your squad. But in this, because like I said, they're the best girls that we've picked in New South Wales, the intensity's right up there. And I said to the girls the other night on Tuesday when we finished training that, that was our last session. We go an in-house trial, and then obviously I've got a really difficult job to pick 20. And it's actually going to be really sad as well, because I've really enjoyed every player and all the staff members as well, but in particular all the players that we've had there this 6-week block. It's already felt like a little family to me, to be honest, and that's due to the how the girls have trained, the attitude they've turned up with. So there's definitely a bit of a difference I've noticed. 4 seasons of an NRLW. This is my first time with the Origin, but the intensity's there, and also I feel like there's a real hunger, especially with the girls that have played there recently. With Queensland sort of getting the last couple of years, getting the victory over the last couple of years. There's a real desire amongst the girls that have been there as well, which is important.
Yeah. Kez, going back to the Tigers, how have you found your time the last couple of years as the Tigers? Well, I did honestly mean it. When you did sign with the club on this show, we were like stoked. It was like, I stand by, one of the biggest signings to have an Australian and New South Wales rep come to the Tigers in both men's and women is quite a rare thing. So to have a superstar like you come to the club, how have you found your time at the Tigers?
Yeah, I've really loved my time at the Tigers. That was obviously a massive decision of mine. Obviously, I've been at the Dragons for a very long time. And then it was really nice I played for the Tigers in 2022 when we won the Harvey Norman Premiership.
Shouts to Adele.
Sorry.
Shouts to Adele.
Yeah. Hi, Adele. That was an amazing experience, and I really enjoyed my time there, and all the girls who, they just worked really hard for each other, and I loved the coaching staff as well. So when they did approach me to play for the Tigers, I never thought I would consider it, but obviously having that little taste, and, I've been around a little while, and I really wanted to challenge myself with something new and a different environment. So it was probably the best decision I did. In the last couple of years, obviously last year my footy didn't go to plan, obviously with injuries and stuff like that, but really looking forward to my year 3 here, and started the year off really well, I feel, and especially in this 6-week training block for New South Wales is just going to set me up for our NRLW as well, regardless of what happens with selections and things like that. But yeah, I feel really great leading into this season. And
Awesome.
Yeah, and the girls are looking really fit at the moment as well.
You mentioned the premiership, the Harvey Norman premiership. As you and Rob were there that day, how were the Tigers fans? I unfortunately had something with my son that day, couldn't make it. But I mean, how excited were we as West Tigers fans that day? I know you and Rob got photos of the girls with their medals and
I
stuff.
actually never experienced fan base like the Tigers on that day.
Yeah.
Like they just showed up, and it was the hardest game I've ever played.
Yeah.
It was the first time I've ever cramped going into that. I know. I ran so much. We went into extra time and then went into golden point.
Yeah.
Extra time. Yeah, I just remember Emily slotting that field goal. It was the best thing ever.
Yeah, what amazing. Tell us a bit about that day, Az.
I actually wasn't there, John.
I
I was a little unsure where you were getting that from. So
Rob was definitely there.
Rob was there.
definitely
So what
there.
happened with me was I had work that day, but I was coming up from Orange.
Oh, you were living in Orange then?
Yeah,
right.
for the game
Okay.
that weekend, and I was tuning into that game in the car after work. So I had the game playing in the car, and I remember
That's good.
I remember once it got to extra time, I found myself pulling over so I could actually grab my phone and watch the game because I was too invested, and I wanted to see if obviously we could beat the Sharks, and then obviously Emily coming in really clutch in those late stages, and it was just one of those things where I mean I couldn't focus on driving, so I had to pull over and stop, and I mean. Even through the phone, I could still hear the atmosphere at the ground, and it sounded like a pretty special atmosphere.
Yeah.
The fact that it was a grand final basically in Tiger territory kind of made it a little bit special and a little bit easier, I think, for Tigers fans to get there, as opposed to the Sharks fans. And yeah, they were loud. They were pretty loud.
Mm. And how do you find? It's obviously we're saying it to West Tigers fans to our faces essentially, but how do you find the fan base? You do mention how passionate we were for the Harvey Norman grand final and NRLW team now. Like that was a huge, like we were waiting for years to finally get it. And we finally got one, and the excitement. How do you find the West Tigers fan base, and how often do you get recognized and stopped from West Tigers fans? Like, do we get a bit stalkerish, the West Tigers fans?
No, you guys are great. Yeah, look, obviously I love the fan base, and we've got a really big fan base. I worked that out over the last couple of years, where there's a lot of Tigers fans and they keep showing up regardless of the results. So it's really amazing. Look, in terms of getting recognized, I actually got recognized today, to be honest, in the mall, which was pretty nice. By a male too, like a young boy, which was really cute. But yeah, not too much. I feel like I don't get out much, to be honest. So no, but it is nice to know that people do follow the women's space, and everyone you speak to, they just love the women's game, and it's just really nice to see how far the conversations have changed over the last probably 10 years that I've been involved in women's rugby league. So it is a nice shift that everyone's jumping on board and supporting the women.
Yep. John, what's the expectations going? Obviously, win 3-0 is ideal.
That'd be lovely.
But yeah.
Well, that's the expectation.
Yeah.
From me, definitely. That's based on the squad we have and how hard they've worked over the last 6 weeks. Yeah. So I'm confident. I'm always confident as a coach, going into games, you need to be, but I'm really confident because of what, like I said, who the girls are. And that's nothing against the Queensland squad that they've just released. There's some quality players in there across the 20 girls, but I just know firsthand how hard these girls have worked, how much they want it. Like I said before, it's going to be really hard for me to pick 20 out of the 30 because, the effort they're put in. So, and the expectation for me as the coach is we go in and we score more points than them in every game.
And got to ask Sarah, our beloved Sarah Togachuki, is she in?
So we've actually got the second in-house trial tomorrow.
Okay.
And ask him on next
week.
No, they're telling me there's a chance. Okay.
There's definitely a chance with Sulla. You
Yeah.
know, I've known Sulla coached at the Roosters when we won the comp in 21, and I know what she brings, and I was really happy for her when she went to the Tigers, because I knew she was, you know, a marquee player that a new club needed.
Yeah,
you know, someone like her, and yeah, she leads from the front. She's a fantastic player, as is Kezie.
Yeah,
they've got two awesome, not just footy players, but also people at the Tigers in the NRLW space.
Yeah. Sarah, can you, as a teammate in the Blues and West Tigers, Sarah, what are your what's she like? What's she like on and off the field?
She is amazing. I love her.
Good dancer. My God, that Vegas.
I was about to say, how did the dance moves go
I've been asking her to teach me something so I can bust it out. So we're gonna do a dance lesson soon.
Yeah,
so
right. Okay.
Just like maybe 8 counts that I can. I don't know. Just bust something out, which will be probably not the splits like she nearly did, but
I don't know if anything's planned. I think she just goes with it.
She does. She just she's such a she's awesome. She's a great person. As Strangey said, she leads with her actions on the field.
Yeah.
She's very passionate. She's so kind, and she will do anything for anybody. So it's been amazing to be on this journey with her at the Tigers.
Yeah.
And then whenever we train, you just want to either be in her team. You don't want to. She's a great trainer, and I tell everybody, whatever team I'm in, if you can tackle Salah, you can stop anybody in the NRLW.
Yeah.
So.
As you got your questions there, you got a couple of questions handy.
Yeah, so I've got a couple.
You remember them? Okay,
got a couple of my own first. So obviously the State of Origin series has been condensed a little bit this year. So it's the 3 games all in May, a fortnight apart. Is there going to be anything really different in regards to, is the team going to stay in camp for the entire series this year, as opposed to switching backwards and forwards between Clubland and Origin?
What happens this year, which is new, because like you said, it's every fortnight as opposed to 3 weeks last year. So pardon me. We go into camp for a week, and then the week after Origin 1, the girls actually leave camp, have their own time, so we're not don't have access to them for training, which is really important to have that break, and then we go into camp a week second. So to answer your question, is we don't stay together for the whole 6 weeks. The girls come away for a week, go home, do whatever they're going to do, unwind, recovery and those sort of things, and then we get back together week before Origin 2, and then we repeat that for Origin 3.
Is that hard, Kez, as a player, like going in and out of camp? Even for the men's game, I think they should make the series basically for both men and women, just go into camp and stay in camp and just pause the season, and that way, and just have the games. So you can start on a Sunday, go Wednesday, 10 days later, and then the Sunday after that. That's my big idea for the men's game, and you guys could play like corresponding with that or something as well, because going into a camp, it must be tough. It is.
It's a bit different in the women's space, because we have work as well. So you got to juggle work commitments. Then obviously the funding side of things, I don't think wouldn't be enough funding for us to be in camp for that long as well. And then we also have NRLW commitments as well, that our NRL preseason starts. So at least we can get back to our clubs and show face and be around the girls and do what we can in that space, especially for Strangey. It'd be a bit hard for him being a coach as well. But last year was a little bit hard because of the NRLW stuff. So you're going in and out, and it was it was a bit disruptive. I feel like this year might be a little bit better in a way, because it's condensed, because you're not going to be home for that long, and then you get back into camp. So it's only a couple of days. So I feel like it's going to be a lot better. So you're not out for as long as we were last year.
I feel like last year, and as a coach of an NRLW team, I feel like it dragged on too long for the girls that we had were sort of coming back. They did 3 or 4 sessions, and they'd go back in, but they weren't really in our sessions because they were in Origin mindset.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's every 2 weeks now, it's the girls can really focus on that, and then we get all our Origin players back at Clubland for a larger chunk before round 1.
Yeah.
I think the way the NRL have done it this year is perfect. And it's going to change every year. Well, the women's game is going to keep growing.
Yeah.
At some stage,
go to 5 games.
That'd be nice. But at some stage, it'd be like the men's, whether it's 2028 when the new CBA comes out, I think I think there's a good chance the women's game will be full time.
Yeah.
17 teams, and the Origin will be positioned like it is with the men's. Yeah, but it's going to take a bit of time to get there for the girls.
Yeah. You would have won a West Tigers premiership by then, I think,
Yep.
Kez. As you got
Not the Roosters.
questions? What do you got, Az?
So, Kezie, as a player, with Origin being before the NRLW season, do you feel like you and the girls are at like peak fitness, having not really had the chance to play much footy before the Origin games? Do you think there's anything that could be improved there, or?
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like we definitely need our NRLW season before Origin. It's just obviously it's really hard at the moment because of how many teams we have and the structure. It's not ideal playing Origin being the first game of the year when it's the hardest game of the year. And so you want to, you want to be at your best for that. So the girls are working so hard to put the best product out there. But it would definitely be a lot better if we had our NRLW preseason or even a couple of games of NRLW before leading into an Origin game, because it is the hardest game of the year and it's the toughest one. And to start the season off at that, it's we're definitely not going to be at our best peak performance.
And game one at Suncorp as the opener for Magic Round last year looked like it was pretty successful. How was the atmosphere? How did that all feel?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was amazing. I love playing at Suncorp Stadium, even though it's Queensland ground. But the crowd was so big compared to, in regards to how much time that they had to advertise our game. They didn't really advertise it very well in the lead up to that game, and it wasn't included in the Magic Round stuff. It was sort of a couple of weeks out before they sort of advertised it. So to have, what did you say, around 25,000 at that game, you could definitely hear the crowd. It was awesome. It was the best experience, and I love that we're the opener, I guess, of Magic Round this year.
John, do you think the 2023 season, I think it was, being the 2-game drawn series, do you think that was the best possible result, that series, because it really started the conversation really quickly of having the 3 games?
So. Yeah, and that's everyone, obviously Kezie would have felt that one,
it's weird.
Yeah, it was, the girls, well, from both sides, one side wins that, but then loses a series. So I think I spoke to girls from both sides there, were kind of like, this is really a weird feeling.
Yeah.
So I guess, in hindsight, looking back, it was probably the best thing, because then it made the NRL go, okay, we kind of don't want that to happen again. And then last year they introduced the 3, and it was a massive success for the game.
All right, we'll finish with a couple of Patreon guys.
Yeah, so I'll start with Rob first. Rob has a couple, our other co-host. Kezie, how's the club handled the first 2 years in the competition?
Oh, he's going hard. Sorry for that, isn't he? It's not like Rob.
They've been really great, I feel. I feel like they're really open to learning and applying change and, getting all the feedback that they can get to improve. They want to improve each and every year. So I feel like definitely the last 2 years, obviously becoming new to the club, and they're definitely putting in their right, especially moving forward. Sorry, for this year, there's definitely a lot of changes and a lot of things that they've, changing around trainings and just internally within the club to then put us in the best position moving forward, to be able to play at our best. I feel like it is a bit difficult in the sense of some of our staffing, for instance, aren't full-time. So just putting them on full-time, so then we have more access to them, being able to, put on optional training sessions and things like that to get the girls together a bit more, because it's a bit hard when we're all spread out everywhere. So just little things like that to improve on, so then we can hit the ground running come our preseason.
And have you had a chance to meet a lot of the new girls yet? Do you know if they've integrated well into the club and the culture?
Yeah, I have had a chance to meet most of the new girls, and they've fit in so well, and they've been ripping in at training, and they've been working really hard. So when I see them, they're looking really fit. They're putting in the work, so which is really pleasing to see that it means something to them. I feel like that's the biggest thing that it needs to mean something to them. They need to want to win, and they need to want to put that effort and have a really good attitude towards it for us to be in the best position to be successful. So it's pleasing to see how hard they've been working.
Awesome. So just a couple of questions from the Discord here. First of all, John, when did training start for the first game? When did training start for the first game of the NRLW season, and being Origin make it a little harder than it would if it was a normal NRLW game?
So when did training start for NRLW?
Origin, does he mean?
Origin. I think he meant, maybe he means Origin.
Okay, yeah, because NRLW we're 12th of May.
Yeah.
So we're getting closer to that. But we had the 10th of March, I think it was, off memory now. We started, with the Origin. So that's when it started. What was the other question on the back of that?
Does it make it a little harder
for the NRL? Oh, look, I actually like it. Like I was asked as one of the coaches last year around how I think from an NRLW coach point of view, the Origin would work. One of the options was how it was last year, 3 weeks, but I felt like that, like I said, dragged in. The proposal of the every 2 weeks, I think, is going to be good because for the first 2 weeks of our pre-season, we won't have the Origin girls, but then they'll be back after that, and Origin will be done, focused on NRLW. So that's obviously Kezie, all these girls will have that time, that they can just focus on club. Because like I said, it dragged out a little bit. They'd come back for a few sessions, then we'd lose them again. They weren't really there, which I didn't blame any of them because they're focused on Origin while they're at training. So the fact that, and for me as well, what I did last year when we had our Origin girls out, I actually brought in some younger girls in our system to train, just to make up numbers, but also it was really good for them to get a taste of training with, we had some 15, 16, 17-year-old girls who look up to, a lot of these NRLW players. So they got to train in certain sessions, and we're going to do the same as well in the first 2 weeks. So it's an opportunity for the younger ones at each club. I'm sure all clubs do it, just to get a taste of what it's like training, at that level.
And next for Kezie, firstly, how's the knee and how did you pull up after the Vegas game?
Knee's good. Thank you. No, it's actually feeling really great. So I don't feel it at all, to be honest. And how did I pull up after Vegas? I pulled up sweet. I don't think I did anything in that game, to be honest. We all just had the time of our lives. But the whole Vegas experience was awesome. And I'm glad I could tick that off. I don't think I'll go back if I had a choice.
And is there much different in your preparation when you're playing front row as opposed to second row? Because I notice sometimes you're a little bit backwards and forwards between the two positions.
Obviously, I just got to make sure I know my role in both. So just know what I need to do if I get put in front row, and then obviously know my role when I get put in second row as well. So just making sure I'm across that so then I can cover both.
Excellent. And one last one for you, Kezie. What does your typical game week look like and your typical game day routine?
Oh, game week, would probably, it depends if we played, then the next session would be pretty light. And then the middle session is a bit more heavier because we've got a couple of days out from playing, and then we'll have captain's run before we play. And then my morning routine depends when we play again. We used to get stitched up with the 11 a.m. games.
Yeah.
That was really tough. I didn't like that. But I don't really have too much of a routine. I didn't want to because if something didn't go right, I'd freak out. But my only really routine would be I like to be strapped first. Don't know if you've noticed that. I like to be getting early to get strapped first. And that's pretty much making sure I get strapped first. That's it. I'm pretty boring.
Was that all from...
Well, we had a fair few, but I've kind of narrowed.
Oh, you narrowed it down. Okay, good. Yeah, because we don't want to keep them here all night. Is that it? Any more from the guys and girls?
For both of you, we'll go John first. Any words of wisdom for young girls that are interested in playing NRLW?
I guess for me, you got to love it. Yeah, if you're passionate about it. Then stick. There's a lot of girls that I've spoken over the years that play different sports like union, AFL, soccer, netball, and sometimes they get to a point where they're very talented rugby league players, but they might be passionate about another sport. My suggestion is go and do that. like just follow whatever you're passionate about, you're more chance of being success because you're going to put everything in. So follow, I guess, your heart and what you want to do. And if it is rugby league, work hard at everything. You know, work hard at understanding the game, understanding your role. You know, if you've got to get in the gym to get bigger, work hard at that. If you've got to get faster, you know, go and do sprint training. So for me, it's just, follow what you're passionate about, but you don't achieve anything in life really with any importance without working hard. So
just like us talking about the West Tigers.
Hard work.
Hard work. All right. So, from the guys?
Kezie, the same question to you. Any advice for young girls who want to play NRLW?
Yeah, I guess similar to what Strange said, pretty much. If you're passionate about it, if it's what you really want to do, just keep working hard at it. Ask a lot of questions. Don't be afraid to ask for feedback and to find out what you need to work on, or just be really open-minded and be really kind and respectful. I feel like if you are, you know, have a really good attitude, you're a really good teammate, I feel like, and just want to work hard for everybody else, I feel like you'll, I feel like you'll be very successful.
Awesome.
That's it from me.
That's it from Maz. Well, thank you so much. This has been an absolute, privilege to talk to both of you, and good luck to the Blues. Good luck to the Tigers. And, thank you for joining us at the Orange Grove Hotel. Firstly, Orange Grove Hotel, you guys have been
Shout out to the food.
the OG. The food was good.
Chicken palm
OG.
Very good.
Audience is here. So,
In the crowd.
thank you for joining us, our crowd, and thank you so much again. Thank you so much for joining us, and
Thank you
good
for
luck.
having us.
Go the Blues, go the Tigers.
Yeah, thanks for having us, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the West Tigers Life podcast. You can join us every Wednesday night live at 8:30 p.m. from the Orange Grove Hotel. A big thank you to Orange Grove Hotel for their support, as well as iChoice Home Loans. If you want to hear more from the West Tigers Life podcast, go to westtigers.com.au. That'll be our link tree, and you'll find links to all our social media, and you can sign up at our Patreon at patreon.com/WestLife. Join us next time on West Tigers